Match week 22 of the Northern Super League begins in the Maritimes. At Wanderers grounds, the Halifax Tides back home to take on the Ottawa Rapid. This is a presentation of the NSL presented by BMO. Let's take a look at the standings as we move towards the playoffs. The Ottawa Rapid FC certainly in a logjam right now between Vancouver and Montreal, chasing down AFC Toronto for top of the table. The top four make the playoffs, and the Halifax Tides certainly have some work to do. 8 points back of fifth place Calgary and 17 points back of the playoff line. Let's begin with the third place team, the Ottawa Rapid, and the player to watch today is Chu Woo-Ju. The South Korean international was terrific against Montreal in a 0-0 draw last weekend at TD Place. Testing Anna Karpenko here, who makes the save, then needs some help from the woodwork. Also been instrumental on set pieces as well. This is Chu's 8th straight start today for the Rapid, and how about that bit of skill right there, right between the legs, and drawing the foul. The South Korean with 58 caps, for country, along with 6 goals, basking in some maritime sunlight, getting ready for this one. Spirits are high with the Ottawa Rapid, who continue to make that push towards the playoffs. Let's take a look at the starting 11 presented today by Katrina Peterson. 2 changes today. Johanna Freeland comes in up top as Stella Downing moves to the bench. Kayla Adamek in at right back, and Suzanne Holland moves to the bench. Liv Scott moves from right back into her original role at center back. Moments ago, we had a chance to catch up. The standings are very tight. However, your role within the Ottawa Rapid continues to grow. This is your 5th start now in the last 6 matches. What's been the biggest key to you into having that role growing this year?
I think I bring a good offensive mindset to the team. I think me and DB have a really good connection and on and off the field, and I think my speed and my creativity in the attack is what's bringing me to starting, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that chemistry, because Ottawa is the highest scoring team in the NSL this year, along with Vancouver, and of course you and DB have been doing a lot of the damage on the pitch. Tell me, how have you been growing that chemistry both on and off the pitch?
Yeah, I think she's been helping me a lot navigate my offense in practices, especially. We talk a lot, and she kind of tells me what she wants from me as a winger, and I think it's shown in the games.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, let's move to the Halifax Tides. This is the team that just have 3 wins in 18 matches so far this week. And the message from Stephen Hart, the interim manager, is this side needs goals. Looking at Sydney Kennedy here, 16 chances created. That's the most on the Tides this year. She has yet to factor in on the scoring, but Halifax has dropped its last 3 matches, and it's goalless in its last 4. It is very simple for the Tides. They need to find some offense today. The standings are very tight. However, your role within the Ottawa Rapid continues to grow. The starting 11 here for Stephen Hart, certainly no shortage of changes. 5 changes in total, including Sarah Taylor coming in for her first start of the season from Bridgewater, just about an hour and 10 minutes away from Wanderers grounds. One of 5 changes, as I mentioned today, in an overhauled side that has a busy schedule coming up. Moments ago, we had a chance to catch up with Sarah Miller, who is playing up in the attack. Sarah, it's your 4th straight start today for the Tides, and I know your team wants a bounce back after it didn't go your way in Ottawa a couple of weeks ago. What's been the message shared within your group today?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we were disappointed with how our last matchup with Ottawa went, especially towards the end of the game. But we also know that there were a lot of positives to take from the last time we played against them. And so we really just want to focus on what went well last time and coming out today and making sure we put in a good performance all 90 minutes.
And you have a very busy schedule coming up I want to focus on today, because I know it's a great source of pride to play on your home pitch, which is the beautiful grass. But 3 games in 8 days with travel to Montreal and Toronto coming up. How have you been preparing for this very difficult stretch ahead?
Yeah, I think it's as simple as just taking it day by day, and we trust in our staff. They know what's right for our bodies, and we feel ready today, and that's what's most important. And then we'll take it day by day after that to get our recovery in, eat well, sleep well, and be ready for the next game as well.
Thanks and good luck today. So it is the Tides and the Rapid to do battle for the 4th time this season. We've had 2 one-goal fixtures, but the last one was a big Ottawa win. 5-0, the Capital. Kickoff next. Welcome back to the first of 3 in a row on the Northern Super League schedule. We begin with the Halifax Tides looking for a win in front of their home fans against the Ottawa Rapid FC. Sid Kennedy and the Tides desperate for a win at home. They have not celebrated a home win since all the way back on July the 7th. Let's meet the officials for today's match. The 34-year-old Montreal native Isabelle Duclos has the whistle, a nationally accredited official since 2024 in her 10th appearance of the season. Melissa Snedden, Natalie Berry, and Laura Hall are the assistant referees for the match here today. The Rapid have some business to take care of. It is a busy schedule as well for Katrina Peterson's team. 3 straight road matches from the East Coast into Calgary midweek and then finishing on Saturday in Vancouver. That is one tricky road trip for Desiree Scott, who will once again be wearing the captain's armband, but the morale in this group is high. 9 wins, 5 draws, 5 defeats this year. 29 points through 19 games for the Ottawa Rapid this year. However, they have not won yet this year in Halifax. They were beaten 2-1 here on a rainy early June evening, with Gunny Junsdottir scoring the winning goal in the 75th minute. We prepare for kickoff, and we are underway with the Ottawa Rapid aiming to catch the Vancouver Rise for second in the table. Meanwhile, Halifax looks for its first home win since the middle of the summer, mid-July. It's been a tough run for these Tides. Just 1 goal scored in the last 8 matches for Stephen Hart's side. So can they break through against this Ottawa team that leads the league, tied with Vancouver for goals scored this year, and is also one of the best defensively? Jaleesa Harris has played every minute of every match on the Ottawa back line. Will move things forward a long time, and now former Canadian international Desiree Scott will play back, and it is dumped up and over the top and taken in for a first corner kick. That was Mina Lee, the 33-year-old, doing well, arriving to that ball first, and then it's the first set piece opportunity of the day for the Ottawa Rapid. 6 games remaining for the Rapid. 3 of them coming within the next 7 days. Early ball in, and it is headed away neatly by the Halifax back line. Annika Toth, the 23-year-old keeper, back between the sticks today. Meanwhile, Melissa Dagenet, the 24-year-old keeper, will mind the net for Ottawa. Harris looks for a ball inside once again on a half clearance, and a good block there. Another opportunity, and Toth has to be sharp. Sarah Olai made the first block, and Toth did the rest. It's an early opportunity for the Rapid. Mentioned they lead the league in scoring, tied up top with Vancouver. 33 goals scored through the 19 matches played so far this season. Of course, many of those scored by DB Pridham. 16 goals in 19 appearances so far. By far the league's best scorer. Kaylee Hunter of AFC Toronto has 10, so really just a outstanding season for DB Pridham, who has 2 goals and an assist this year in the 3 previous matches against Halifax. Norcus will play the ball out wide. Once again, looking for opportunities with Sarah Miller. Miller's cross in. It's not a threat to this Ottawa back line. Clearing attempt coming from Chu. That was kept alive by Norcus. First start since the end of July the 25th, the 30-year-old Kylie Norcus. Ottawa will now have a chance to organize itself here with Harris taking the ball from Liv Scott. Desiree Scott played to Chu. Ball into touch in front of Katrina Peterson, member of the Danish Hall of Fame and 3-time Danish Women's Player of the Year. A record 210 international caps for the Northern European nation. And knows there are key matches ahead, not only to try and catch Vancouver for second in the table, but also to try and chase down AFC Toronto, who they do play one more time this year. Played out wide for Sid Kennedy. He's played 90 minutes in 8 matches of her 18 this year. And it's been one of the biggest sparks for this Tides team, but somehow still has been kept off the goal sheet this year. Hoping to change that today. Dagenet coming in with back-to-back clean sheets. 5-0 win against these Tides in Ottawa a few weeks ago, and then held the Montreal Roses to a 0-0 match. Was certainly good in that game, particularly in the second half. Be Norcus again. Cedeno looks towards the middle. Mina Lee is there. And there is one of the first touches on the day for DB. DB Pridham does have support here down this left flank. Pushed ahead and dealt with nicely there by the Tides. It's a 16 degrees Celsius day in the Maritimes today in Halifax, the Nova Scotia capital. Overcast skies, so we will likely not have any rain today. Comfortable conditions for a mid-September fixture. Tides once again looking to push the ball into the final third. That is rejected by Chu. Played in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup for South Korea. Of course, we'll have our sights set in a couple of years for 2027 as well, I'm sure. Taken back by Olai. And the Swede will give back to the keeper, Annika Toth, in her 13th appearance of the season. Sent away again by Halifax. 31 times this year in the 18 games, matching the Calgary Wild for the worst mark in the Northern Super League. So it hasn't just been offensively for Halifax this year. And Stephen Hart was quick to remind our production team this year, or this week in our call, saying that a certain amount of pride comes with putting on the Tides kit every year, and of course, players are interested in playing in Canada again next year. There are only so many spots to be had, not only in Halifax, but across the league. So, motivational tone from the interim manager, Stephen Hart, prior to this one. Tides once again looking to transition. That is countered though by Adamek. Polish international will send ahead, and Ottawa's run a free kick here. And a yellow card comes out early for Olai. Certainly some frustration towards the head referee, Isabelle Duclos. There is Stephen Hart, watching his center back Olai go into the book for the 5th time this year. So it's a set piece opportunity for the Ottawa Rapid FC, and as I mentioned, tied for first with Vancouver in goals scored. So Toth will provide some instruction here to the wall. Now forced to march a few steps back. Harris and Johanna Friedland both on top of this set piece. Friedland to the right, looks to run over this ball. It is Harris looking for a low drive, and the wall does its job. And the home fans appreciate that as the Tides take that set piece opportunity away. Although Olai picking up an early yellow card within the first 10 minutes. Will certainly have to be careful with the likes of DB Pridham, Florence Belzile, and Johanna Friedland, all very solid attacking options. It will be a test for the Halifax back line, and it just got a little bit tougher with the official warning to Olai. In the 10th minute now, taking back Megumi Nakamura has 3 goals to lead the Tides this year. One of 2 players along with Sarah Miller who have multiple goals this year. Eddie Wickers, one of the 5 changes today, back into the starting 11 for Stephen Hart. Flight comes up from the assistant referee. Miller in an offside position. Melissa Snedden and Natalie Berry, the 2 assistant referees on the touchline today. Melissa from Oakville, Ontario, while Natalie Berry from Halifax. Laura Hall from Dartmouth, just across the bay, as the 4th official today. Adamek will send forward. Taken by Julien Valleron. Gives the ball away, and Stephen Hart will watch as Ottawa will have a chance to throw. Two wins on the home pitch this year for the Tides. As I mentioned, it has been a while. One of them against Ottawa back on June the 10th. The other against Calgary, July the 7th. There's Katrina Peterson, who has celebrated 3 away victories this year, including one recently mid-August 2-0 victory against the Roses in Montreal. I mentioned that road form. That will be important for the Rapid, particularly in the next stretch. The Daniel watches that ball fly past her, goes into touch. Rapid coming off a stretch of playing 4 of their last 5 matches at TD Place. Only have one defeat in that span, so it was a relatively productive stretch at home, although they did drop points on a few occasions. Picked up points in 4 of the last 5 games as they keep pace in the Northern Super League table. Norcas is tracking back, does well to win the ball at least momentarily. Zil taken down, followed up by Friedland, plays wide. Nina's cross in, a dangerous one, comes back up top and it's driven towards goal. It's off the target. It's an early opportunity for the Chicoutimi, Quebec native Florence Belzile. Mentioned in our open, this is her 6th start in her last 7 games. An opportunity here right at the top of the penalty area. It's her left boot, but catches it on the outside and spins it wide. Belzile a goal and 2 assists. 14 appearances so far in the season, but has been in the good books of the manager in the starting 11 for the majority of the last 2 months. Annika Toth does have 3 international caps for Slovakia. Father from the Central European nation. DB Pridham appears to be shaken up. Golden Boot leader asking the referee for some time. Let's see what happened to DB here. Perhaps an elbow to the midsection, yes. That looked particularly uncomfortable. Shot right to the rib cage. 28-year-old. Celebrated a birthday recently, DB, back on September the 1st. 4 multi-goal games this year for DB, including a hat trick against AFC Toronto. Has had braces on 3 other occasions. Of course, that hat trick will go down in the history books because it is the first ever, it was the first ever Northern Super League hat trick back on June the 7th against top of the table AFC Toronto. Taken back by Olai. Wickers delivers a long ball down this right flank. Norcas just a pace or 2 off the step with Zhu Wuzhu defending. Allowed to continue on. Liv Scott. The defender has scored all 3 of her goals against the Tides this year. Scoring here at Wanderers grounds back in June in that 2-1 defeat. And then scoring in the 2 previous wins. A 1-0 victory at TD Place Stadium on July the 25th. And then again in that big 5-0 rout at the end of August, where the Rapid scored 4 second-half goals against the Tides on that day. That was one that disappointed Stephen Hart because it was 1-0 at halftime. DB Pridham scored in the 10th minute. And Mina Lee made it 2-0 early in the second half of the 46th minute. Stephen Hart said at that point, okay, well, let's just try and settle things down, be responsible defensively, not concede another goal, just see where the game takes us. Maybe we can get a set piece, get back into the match. Didn't happen that way, unfortunately, for the Tides on that day. Liv Scott, Melanie Forbes, and Stella Downing added some salt to the wound on the 5-0 scoreline. So the Tides will be looking for a little bit of revenge. They do play one more time this year. In fact, the last match day of the season, October the 15th. We'll be back in the Maritimes for another Rapid Tides matchup. So Ottawa Ottawa does have the advantage on the season series with 2 wins and a loss. This time the Tide's looking to try and counter down that left side. Wickers does well to win the ball. Play back to Toth. Olai with Mina giving chase. Halifax has got to be careful here because Ottawa have numbers. This one sent towards goal by Friedland. Just didn't have enough power on that right boot. And once again, Halifax opted to try and play out of the back, and they were given a warning there. Let off the hook, perhaps, as that ball was in the clear for Johanna Friedland, who's just had 1 start in her previous 5 matches prior to today. 2 assists so far in the season. Here come the Tides. Ball is sent in. It's a good one, sent away by Jaleesa Harris. There's Kennedy looking to unite some offense, ignite some offense, I should say. Miller has a half step on Chu. Ball into the middle, it was there for the taking. Nakamura was well covered in the penalty area by the Ottawa back line, but she still was able to get a boot to that. Halifax's leading scorer this year. Miller does well to fend off the defending from Chu. Megumi Nakamura played 4 years in Japan's top flight Women's League for Nagano before coming to Halifax. 16th start on the season for the 24-year-old. Miller and Norcus unite again. Olai and Wickers. Reminder, 2 more fixtures on the way today. It is a Super Saturday in the Northern Super League presented by BMO. We'll head into North York, at York Lions Stadium, directly following this game. Vancouver and Toronto will do battle again. We finish in the West with Montreal making the trip to Alberta to take on the Calgary Wild. 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, the 2 later starts today. So really it's bang, 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 a full slate of Northern Super League action coming at you today. It'll be Miller again, the Halifax, Nova Scotia native. Scored both of her goals in back-to-back games back in late May, early June. Desiree Scott. Cedeno comes through the back and will be whistled by the head referee for the foul. Trina Peterson talking about some of the differences in preparation coming into the match today. Of course, the natural grass, a treat for her, of course. Desiree Scott will be no stranger to that, but it is quite different from TD Place Stadium, so in training, that was the focus, to making sure that there'd be no bounces or anything that might catch them off guard. They were caught off guard by the Tides earlier on in the year. The 2-1 decision for the home side that day. Heavy collision in the middle of the pitch. That was Sarah Taylor. From Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, which is down the South Shore, just to the west of Lunenburg. Have to go through Chester and beautiful Mahone Bay to get down to Bridgewater. About 100 or so kilometers away from Wanderers grounds. So special day for Sarah Taylor, starting for the first time in the Northern Super League in the Halifax midfield. Daughter places ball into the middle. Now it comes back out to Miller. Miller's ball in. It's there for the taking again. Top of the penalty area, and a crack at goal from Sofia Cedeno. And it misses the target. Cedeno, a relatively recent pickup from the Tides this summer, signed on August the 9th. It has been the lineup for Stephen Hart for her third start in 5 appearances now. Young talent, just 19 years old, turned 19, excuse me, the day after she signed on August the 10th. Look out! Zdenio once again causing some problems, and Melissa Dagenet was fortunate that was not in the net. In behind her, instead carrying off harmlessly to the corner, but if Halifax will press like that, they will know that they might have an opportunity against the Ottawa keeper. Goes back in the middle. This time Ottawa does provide some presence. Ball headed into touch here. The Wickers didn't have many options there. Chose safety. Shoot, there's that footwork again. Nakamura, that time on the receiving end of some nice work from Ottawa's number 19. Played into the middle, but out of the reach of Ellen Gibson. Taken back by Miller again. Miller wants to put a ball through. It was once again an opportunity for Gunny Jonsdottir. Missed significant amount of time earlier this year. We'll come back to that in here in just a moment, because Mina Lee is racing into the penalty area and thought about the cross and then opted for the shot. And Annika Toth did not stray from that near post. Some pretty heavy bandaging there on her right thigh. She was forced to miss a match earlier on this year. Jaleesa Harris has played every minute in all 19 games this year for Katrina Peterson. Foul given in the midfield. That's Mina Lee, another South Korean international. Has 83 caps for country. There's a look at Harris, 25 years old. Former NWSL player in the US with the Houston Dash. Been the anchor this year, without a doubt. One of the anchors anyway for the Rapid. Do have a very tidy goals against as well, on top of being one of the league's top attacking teams. The Montreal Roses have conceded fewer goals this year than Ottawa. So tied for first in attacking and second in the NSL in terms of defending. Usually makes for a pretty good combination, and right now it has Ottawa 3 points off the pace for second in the table. No presence up to attack here for Halifax. So once again, it will be Harris. It's into trouble though and gives the ball away. Sarah Miller. Jonsdottir down this right side. 36-year-old who has over 100 caps for Iceland gives the ball back to Miller. Miller's cross in, goes for a corner kick. As Ottawa forced to defend back on its goal line. Miller has been lively so far today. 16 starts and 19 appearances for the Tides this year. Maybe the first corner kick of the match for Halifax. Take a look at Dagenet. Positions herself right in the middle of the 6-yard box. And here is the ball. It is in the top of the penalty area. It is pushed away by Dagenet. Another opportunity comes back in. Dagenet once again comes out. Reads the ball well both times. First time was a bit of a push, and the second time a shove on the ball with traffic in front. Had to navigate through a few players both attacking and defending, and that will be a free kick to the Tides. DB Pridham, of course, didn't like the decision, but when you concede a foul, who does? Back-to-back set-piece opportunities here for the Tides, who have been goal-starved for most of the year, but have given themselves certainly an opportunity here in the first half an hour to strike and put themselves in front. There's some activity on the Ottawa touchline. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Cedeno plays back. It's Miller again. That's a neat and tidy tackle from Belzile. Comes back into possession for the Tides, into the penalty area. Dagenet has to be careful with this. Taken back once again. Played back. No shot towards goal. Taylor navigating in close quarters there, and perhaps just one pass too many for the Halifax midfielder in her first start. Once again, it is a promising piece of attacking. Forbes is up on the Ottawa touchline. Perhaps an early substitution might be in order here. Keeping an eye on that. Jones here. Needed to touch it. Yes, a look towards the fourth official. And it is Melanie Forbes coming in. So it's a rare first half substitution, with Johanna Friedland coming out. Friedland goes directly down the tunnel, so clearly something is bothering the Norwegian. She's just not able to be effective and ultimately asking for a change. So something to keep an eye out for as Ottawa plays once again in Calgary on Wednesday and then on to Vancouver for Saturday. So depth will be tested. There's no doubt about that when you have travel that extensive. 3 matches, 7 days, with 3 different trips. Forbes has done well this year, has 7 goal contributions and 18 appearances. Starting lineup for the majority of the first part of the season, but has now come off the bench for 3 straight matches. Does have 5 assists. That's tied for 3rd in the Northern Super League this year. Of course, some assist numbers will be elevated when you have someone as proficient as DB Pridham scoring 16 times. There will be some good-looking assist numbers, but it all counts. It is all important. Jonsdottir moves back to Taylor in the midfield area. Mina Lee was right on her and crashes into a couple of Tides players. Comes back to Miller. Ottawa has that flank defended well, but the cross does come in. It is up and over top. I will go for a Melissa Dagenet goal kick. It's nice to see Gunny back running with the Tides again. Played 85 minutes Halifax's last match, which was a 1-0 defeat at home to AFC Toronto. This is Jonsdottir's 3rd straight match. So it's missing really a good part of the season from July the 15th all the way to the end of August. He's played in multiple European championships. Played internationally for Iceland for parts of 13 years. Heavy collision in the middle. It's the destroyer Desiree Scott making her presence felt on the East Coast. Didn't make the trip the last time these two teams played in Halifax. But Desi Scott certainly in form here today. right now has to look at Miller. And once again, 3 Ottawa Rapid players. They do well swarming the ball. Miller had a second or two, but that was quickly closed off as we've pushed over the half-hour mark here at Wanderers grounds. Good crowd on hand, as per usual in the Maritimes. One of Canada's great sporting cities. They enjoy a good time on the Maritimes, or it's a kitchen party, as usually they say. Whether it be soccer or hockey, lacrosse, also a big ticket in town. Ball sent down this far side. This will go for a corner kick. Second of the match here for Rapid. Quickly sent away. Adamek. That quickly countered by Halifax. Wickers plays back to Taylor in the midfield, and Taylor is countered. Once again, Ottawa doing a nice job closing gaps quickly. That was Ellen Gibson, Stockholm, Sweden native. 18 starts in 19 matches this year, as Gibson has been pretty well a lock for Ottawa in terms of the starting 11. She's played 90 minutes in each of her last 11 games. So we're really seeing a lot of the pitch for the Rapid. Norcus needing to backtrack on Chu, who brings speed. Toth sends away. It's a short chip. Cedeno. Good patience on the ball. Wants to go up and over the top. Miller takes a look around. The flag stays down. Ball's into the middle. Dagenet, a terrific save. The ball was there for the taking. Now the follow-up opportunity. Cedeno will push over to his far side, and that's Kennedy. Kennedy taken down. And Ottawa survives what's by far the best chance of the match. And it is Cyril Miller, who has been very lively so far. Ball is up again into the arms of Dagenet. That's a big save for the 24-year-old Saint-Hubert, Quebec native, who was thrust into the starting role with the injury, the season-ending injury to Molly Erickson back on July the 10th. 10 minutes to go before halftime. Could very easily be 1-0 for the Tides. Funnily enough, have not had a penalty kick awarded to them this year, nor have they conceded a penalty. The only of the 6 teams to have not had to look at the spot yet through 21 match weeks, now into 22. Really quite exceptional. Taylor will try and attack through the left side. And into touch. Adamek will play to Mina. Mina's ball too heavy on that touch, goes back into Halifax possession. I had to wonder with the 5 changes that Stephen Hard made in the starting 11 how cohesive they would be, but Halifax has had the better of the opportunities, and also up at 57% in terms of the possession numbers so far in the match. Young's Dottier Play back. Cedeno. Chipped up. Taylor looking towards goal. Nakamura couldn't settle the ball as once again Ottawa keeps the pressure on in terms of its defending. Kennedy attacking Adamek. Kennedy goes in, and nice read from Kayla Adamek, who did have to be very careful. Kennedy does have pace down that left wing, and Adamek was tested for another corner kick. There's another look. Kennedy, good first touch, and Adamek going to ground. That's a risky play, but she does time it very well. Concedes a corner kick, which was really the best case scenario there for the Rapid FC defender. Another corner kick on the way. Miller goes short. Back into the penalty area, however the flag comes up. Some good defending again by Ottawa. Miller wanted to go short there, but Halifax was caught, having players ahead of the ball. Five attempts, 2 on target for the Rapid today. A couple of saves for Toth, although nothing particularly dangerous. 4 attempts, 1 on target for the Tides as we now cross over into the 39th minute in the Maritimes today. 1 p.m. local start today. For those watching in Western Canada, or perhaps in some of the Western time zones, it is a full day and an early start in terms of football today. Nothing wrong with that on a Saturday morning. Early afternoon in the Maritimes, of course. Harris, a big part of the Ottawa back line, we mentioned that, but she leads the league in both passes and touches. And Ottawa has the best passing accuracy at just over 80% in the Northern Super League this year. So Harris seeing a lot of the ball has been a big part of that. A lot of the statistical numbers really favor Ottawa, even though they are 9 points back of AFC Toronto coming into today. Rumi Nakamura will play back to Miller. Miller doesn't see that Belzile is quickly tracking back, does realize, does well to keep the ball. Nakamura looks at a cross, dealt with nicely by Harris, sent away. Up and headed on by DB Pridham. Back by the Tides. Norcus will regroup. Miller again, this time the pass finds Florence Belzile. Ellen Gibson will send up and over the top. Toth has to be very careful on that. It's an awkward exchange. Valeron, Halifax left back. The foul was given there on the push. Stephen Hart also did mention that there is the push in the back from the substitute Forbes. Come in around the half-hour mark. Stephen Hart did mention that fatigue was starting to creep into his side. It's been difficult at times, some lopsided losses. Of course, one at home here against the Vancouver Rise, another away to Ottawa a couple of weeks ago. Particularly talking about Toth. And then it's a long season. Cedeno has that ball deflected. It does go in the penalty area, and it is in the back of the goal! Halifax has the first with Nakamura. And there's a good reason to cheer on the Canadian East Coast. The Tides have the opening goal in this Super Saturday. Cedeno's ball was partially deflected, but it did enough to get into the penalty area, and that's where Ottawa, it's a rare miscue. It's not dealt with, it's not cleared. And Megumi Nakamura, the Nagano, Japan native, has her 4th goal of the season and first in 9 long games. She'll say it's long overdue. The Tides will say the goal scoring is long overdue. Just 1 goal scored in 8 previous matches coming into tonight. And the Tides, as a collective unit, letting out a roar of relief along with the crowd. And for the 2nd time in as many matches this year, Halifax leads over Ottawa on the East Coast. Nakamura's last goal came against Calgary back on July the 7th. So minutes before halftime. This game has now opened up. The corner kick set to be in order here. Sid Kennedy coming over from the left to right side here. Fletcher's Lake, Nova Scotia native, which is just outside of Halifax, set to push this on, and really isn't her best there. That's an unfortunate set piece for Kennedy, who raises her arm with apologies. Now remember, Ottawa tied for goals at the top of that statistical category this year with Vancouver, so this is a team that really can do damage. So to go a goal down, that's not really a big issue for Katrina Peterson's side. Scored 3+ goals in 6 different games this year, including once already in a 5-0 drubbing of these Tides. Also 54 shots on target, which is 2nd in the NSL. Toronto 1st in that category with 63. Kennedy plays back to Norcus, and Norcus will take the flighted option. Taken back by Liv Scott, who's looking to score against Halifax for the 4th consecutive match. Quite an accomplishment for the Ottawa center back. We're looking towards the Dartmouth, Nova Scotia native, Laura Hall, who is the 4th official, her 2nd appearance this season as a 4th official. Hall, a former player for the Queens Gales in Kingston, and then also with the Dalhousie Tigers for a year, is now traded in the kit for the referee outfit. Look at the stoppage time here in just a moment. Right now it is Halifax looking for some more attacking. 2 minutes of stoppage time.
The 4th official has indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes of added time.
Kennedy now operating on the right side of the pitch. You saw from that last corner kick. Taylor. Wickers will look to the wide, and that's where Miller, perhaps Stephen Hart saw something, making a switch for his 2 attacking wingers. Nina Lee back into the middle, taken by Desiree Scott, and Adamick controls from there. Chance to move up the pitch. However, Ottawa just does not have the numbers here in first half stoppage time to be really any sort of threat there. Laurent plays back in the middle. Taylor does have company from Gibson. Taylor does well to get away from Gibson and then runs into a very hard tackle from Desiree Scott, who says, me. 50-50 ball, and you know that Desiree will not back down from those. Nearing the end of the minimum 2 minutes of stoppage time. Oblai looks forward, looking for Sarah Miller. Just a tad on the heavy side for Halifax's number 11, Miller. Barring anything very late, it will be the Tides taking a 1-0 halftime lead into the break. And that is exactly the case as referee Isabelle Duclos puts an end to half number 1. And it is Negumi Nakamura. Goal number 4 on the season. Beautifully finished into the top of the goal. And it is the Tides at home leading the Ottawa Rapid by a 1-0. Welcome back to the NSL presented by BMO. It is 1-0 for the Tides. That young fan certainly having a nice time so far with the 1-0 lead. Tides over the Ottawa Rapid halfway through. Of course, keeping an eye on the international scene, Canada's Olivia Smith, the new Arsenal striker, struck in a big way earlier on this year, scoring in her debut against London City, and had a chance to catch up with CBC's Briar Stewart in a sit-down.
The shot is brilliant!
It was a perfect way for Canada's Olivia Smith to make her debut on the pitch.
Her Arsenal career is up and running.
Scoring her first goal for London's Arsenal Football Club.
No sign of being affected by the big price tag.
The 21-year-old from Whitby, Ontario set a world record in July. When she transferred from Liverpool to Arsenal, the club paid a more than £1 million transfer fee. That's about 1.8 million Canadian. At the time, it set a record for the women's game, and Smith's meteoric rise has placed her in the spotlight. We sat down with her at the club's training facility.
Hey, well, very nice to meet you.
You too. Shortly before her first game.
Tell me what it means for you to have just turned 21 and making your debut with Arsenal.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, seeing all the achievements that Arsenal have been able to achieve within the past couple of years is amazing, and it just shows the direction that women's football is going, and I think they're really at the top end of that, really driving that, so I think it's cool to be a part of that, especially at such a young age.
Obviously, your transfer and the reported value of your transfer has got a lot of attention, international attention. I'm sure it's perhaps created some pressure too. Do you feel that?
Honestly, I'm not really too focused on that bit. I think I'm just focused on the present, learning and growing from my teammates and the people around me.
What about the attention?
You know, it can be overwhelming sometimes, if I'm being honest. Like, I think as an athlete, the main thing you want to do is focus on your craft.
Smith has been doing that for nearly all of her life. She started in the sport when she was just a toddler.
I do want to talk to you kind of about your journey up to here, but out of the way first, is it football or soccer?
Depends on where I am, but it is football.
You did a lot of sports. You tried a lot of different sports. So what was it about this game that really made you stick to it?
I think my dad was a big piece in that. He introduced me to football when I was 3. So as soon as I could walk, really, he had a ball at my feet already. I was always just trying to get on the ball, go and score goals. I mean, at one point, I just take it off my own teammates and just go score goals at the age of 5.
Her childhood was defined by soccer. A David Beckham skills book was part of her bedtime routine.
But I would have dreams of me playing on the biggest stage doing those things. And like another big part was Bend It Like Beckham, which was a movie that we watched as well.
Great
and
movie.
I grew up loving those kinds of things.
But soccer wasn't her only sport. Her parents registered her for Taekwondo because they thought it would help with self-defense.
I was bullied a little bit when I was younger. I remember I came home with a black eye and my mom immediately went to the school, which they didn't do much about. So we kind of just took matters into our own hands and they put me in Taekwondo and I actually fell in love with it. And as a football player, I think Taekwondo was like a massive part in my strength ability. Like, I think the way that I strike the ball says a lot about the techniques and stuff that I learned within Taekwondo.
At age 15, Smith became the youngest athlete ever to play for Canada's national women's team, playing alongside Christine Sinclair, who she looked up to when she was a little girl. Smith went pro in 2023, playing in Portugal before moving on to Liverpool last year. Her move to Arsenal and the price tag still feels a little unreal, including for her family and her dad, who made it out for her debut match. On Saturday, she was named the player of the game. Smith has her mind set on playing for Canada at the World Cup in 2027 and the Olympics in 2028.
No mistake from Olivia Smith.
Being a Canadian and so young, with things that I've achieved so far, I really want to be a role model for young girls in Canada. That I think the first thing is that age doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. And you can do whatever you can. The sky's the limit.
And she says that's her attitude when it comes to the women's game. Well, her transfer made headlines as it went over the £1 million mark. When it comes to the men's game, the record is in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Obviously, if you look on the men's side, what the men are going for and what we were going for maybe a couple years ago, there's just so much of a gap. And I think we're not that close to it now, but I mean, I think we'll get there within the next couple of years with the way that the trajectory is going for women's football. I mean, we're getting 60,000 fans in the Emirates for a women's match, and not a lot of teams can say that either. So I think that's massive for us in terms of bringing the game up for the women's game.
Tremendous piece on Olivia Smith, who has 18 caps and 4 goals for Canada at just 21 years old. And Halifax, yes, they love Sarah Miller. She has been terrific so far, a big part in setting up the Halifax lead. It's 1-0. Let's take a look at some of the highlights so far. And yes, it has been a lot of the Tides who have dominated in possession so far. Miller looking for Nakamura there. That connection will come again here shortly, but Miller, certainly a lot of joy down the right side in the first opening minutes. It's an attempt from the young signee Sofia Cedeno that goes over top of the crossbar. Guess who? Miller again. Sarah Miller this time into the penalty area. Dagenet makes a terrific save on Megumi Nakamura. So once again, that duo combining. Dagenet had the answer in a big save there. Kennedy did have a bit of the follow-up before she was removed off the ball. And once again, it was a combination this time. Miller in the penalty area, watching the ball fall to Nakamura, who deposits this shot perfectly into the top corner, out of the reach of the outstretched Melissa Dagenet. For Nakamura, her first goal since July the 7th. Number 4 on the year. That leads all Tides players. So that has been the story so far after 45 minutes of play. 58% in possession to the home side. 5 attempts, 2 at goal for either side. And Sarah Olai has the only yellow card part of the Halifax back line. 45 minutes to go, but certainly the spirits are high today for the Tides and their fans who are hoping for a mid-September win against Ottawa. Back after this.
And you know you're gonna give me my respect. If not, better turn around and double up. Double up, double up, double up.
Couple of minutes away from beginning the second half in Halifax, but first let's rewind to the end of summer and catch up with the Northern Super League's Ashley Docking, who was at the famed CNE talking with some fans who have some tricks.
It's an NSL takeover at BMO on November 15th for the NSL Finals. We're ready, but let's see if some of the fans coming to the AFC Toronto Vancouver Rise game today are also locked in. Can you do keep-ups? How many can you do? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, with the backpack. Let's go. Marko Milanovic signer. Woo! Got a little mustard on that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 11. Nice job. What's your name?
Sydney.
How many do you think you can do, Sydney?
Probably like around like 60 to 100. I don't know.
Okay, that's a wide range. The control. The confidence. Wow. A true footballer. Oh, Sydney! Nice job, girl. A lot of pressure because the kids have been killing it. Smooth, smooth. He almost lost it for a second. Oh! Nice. A little striker maybe. Oh, mommy! Okay, touch. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh! With the sleeper tricks. Okay, good job. Oh yeah, I know that's right. Nice job.
Well, certainly the future is bright in terms of Canadian football. Let's take a look at the slate. Super Saturday presented by BMO. We're halfway through the Rapid at Halifax. Again, coming your way, AFC Toronto will take on Calgary, and the Vancouver Rise will face off against the Montreal Roses. All part of a Super Saturday here today, and once again presented by BMO. Some of the armed forces taking in the action today. This action continues. The second half is next.
Oh, off the post and in. It's the goal they've been waiting for.
That is a highlight we will see over and over and over again. That is absolutely world class. Oh my goodness.
All right, one half in the books, one half to go from Wanderers grounds in Halifax, where the Tides enjoy a 1-0 lead over the NSL's third-ranked team in the Ottawa Rapid. There is one change for Katrina Peterson, taking out the South Korean Chu Woo-ju and bringing in the Norwegian Suzanne Holland for her 16th appearance of the season. Holland has been a starter in 3 of the previous 4 matches, so very much a major part of this Ottawa attack. Taking a look at Nakamura, number 24 in the background, the only goal scorer of today. As Youngsdottir kicks us off for half number 2. My name is Matt Cullen. It's a thrill to have you along board. It is a Super Saturday presented by BMO. With again the matches still to come today. Vancouver making the trip east to North York, just north of Toronto, to take on AFC Toronto, 2 p.m. Eastern time, so that one coming up in a short while. Later on today, we will head west. Montreal has made the trip out to Alberta looking for points, and perhaps teams like Montreal and Vancouver will be happy to see this result so far, because those two sides do not want Ottawa picking up points. Harris misses on the clearance. Cedeno, time and space. And it's a well-paced shot, but it is directly at the keeper, Dagenet, who makes her 2nd save of the match. Cedeno, 2nd time today that she has found herself in a good scoring area. First time went over top of the crossbar, and that time right at the keeper. What will it be for the 3rd time if it does come up? I suppose we'll see. Forbes came in early in the first half. Continues on in the 2nd. Here as Johanna Friedland left the game early, went right down the tunnel. So certainly a situation to monitor for the Rapid. This is a ball that's sent in, and first call of duty today for Holland. Takes that away. Something that Halifax will be quite pleased about is DB Pridham, only 14 touches in that first half. The league's leading goal scorer, held relatively in check. Florence Belzile has also been a menace in the attack, held to just 18 touches. So there really hasn't been a lot in terms of the attacking threat for Ottawa today, which is, as we know, quite rare. One half still to go, lots of time, and here is DB charging at the Halifax back line. Does have some help here as well with Forbes, and there's an attempt at goal. Ball is headed in the back of the goal. Early on in the 2nd half, Belzile with the equalizer. And just as I said that Ottawa has been quiet with the striking, there it is. It's a Top Gun unit that does the job. DB Pridham led the charge. Look at this. No one's catching DB. Full sprint. Forbes, the substitute, does well to put this in a great area, forcing Toth to make the save, but also forcing Toth to pushing the ball out, and that's where Belzile takes advantage. It's a headed goal for the 22-year-old Chicoutimi, Quebec native. Goal number 2 on the season. 8 straight matches for Belzile without finding the back of the goal. You know that will feel good, and Katrina Peterson very animated on the touchline, knowing that points are at a premium in the table, and Halifax was ahead by a 1-0. Didn't sit well at all. And early in half number 2, Ottawa has the answering goal. Belzile scored earlier in July on the 19th. Ball sent into Toth, no issues there. And a 3-0 win against Calgary last time that Florence has put the ball in the back of the goal. That one will be without doubt one of the easier professional goals that she will score. It was set up perfectly by DB Pridham, and Melanie Forbes Love the placement from Forbes in terms of the attacking, knowing perhaps she didn't have a chance really to score, but if she could put the ball into a place where the keeper is forced to leave a rebound, knew exactly that Belzile was charging on. And that's how Ottawa has leveled the match, with still loads of time to go. Taylor in the middle. Sends this ball out wide, taken by Jonsdottir. Nakamura. Halifax goal scorer. That's another muscular exchange there. Dagenet. That there was some danger there. Cedeno was close by. Good to see that Megumi Nakamura is up and just fine after that crunching tackle. Forbes again. Into the middle for Mina Lee. Here is Mina. Ottawa's first ever goal scorer, winding our way back to the beginning of the season. Belzile caught awkwardly and then pushed down to the ground. Play continues on. Adamick chase after this ball. It does have lots of space. Miller forced to close in the gap. Adamick moves back. Ball is misplayed, however. Isabel Duclos allowing play to continue on as Harris, like she'd fallen behind a step and had to try and get back into position. Stephen Hart saying, what's going on? But there should have been a free kick. Given in favor of the Tides. Big question now is, how will the Tides respond? Scoring goals have been a real source of frustration for this team this year. Scoring multiple goals even more so. Scored multiple goals on 2 occasions the first 18 matches this year. Of course, one of them was against this very same Ottawa Rapid in a 2-1 victory on that rainy night in June. Gunny Jonsdottir once again taken down. Shuffled into the middle, however, intercepted by Forbes. Well, backtracking. Taylor, give to the back line. Valeron started all 5 matches since she signed with the Tides earlier on in early August. Signed on August the 2nd. Recently playing with Spokane, the women's USL south of the border. Another shot of Stephen Hart, whose mood has really turned sour here since the goal went against his side, and then what he thought a couple of calls has been missed. He will want a result today, there's no doubt about that. He's felt there has been generally progression in the side since he took over on June the 30th. There have been a couple of really difficult defeats. But he says overall he likes the direction of the team, but there needs to be pride and there needs to be efficiency. Mentioned off the top of our broadcast, both these teams have a really heavy travel schedule coming up. So depth will be tested if there are any injuries. That will also be a concern as well. Kennedy. Kennedy's ball. A one-hopper into Dagenet. Kennedy might have wanted a deeper run into the penalty area. Didn't look overly pleased with the reaction of her teammates there. Julianne Vanaron, the Montreal native. Good for West Virginia in her NCAA career. Just like the NSL's very own Jessica Lisi. Former teammates. Kennedy, this time, has the way around. Ball into the middle, and once again, Kennedy will be left shaking her head. It's two wonderful opportunities for Sid Kennedy, who has the most chances created this year for the Tides coming into this afternoon. But two balls that have been scooped up by the keeper. Two balls that really could have been perhaps placed differently for teammates. The idea is there. She has the pace. She beats Olivia Scott around the corner, but the ball was just too deep. There was really nothing anyone could do about that besides Dagenet, who was well positioned. Ball up and sent away quickly back from Olai. Once again, the Tides having the majority of the ball and attacking. Miller, Kennedy again, there she is, ball into the middle, and this time Jaleesa Harris sends it away. 3 straight crosses from Sid Kennedy. That one, without doubt, had the most danger to it. Harris really had to be good, had to be perfect, in fact. Sarah Miller, terrific run here. She has been great. Leads the Tides in touches so far in the match, and this time there were options in the penalty area. Had a look at Cedeno. Nakamura was at the back post, but Harris was first to the ball. Free kick given, it is the left boot of Sid Kennedy again. Curls this ball in. Desiree Scott, the header. Taylor takes the ball from Wickers. Runs into trouble. Aggressive favor on both sides. And the home fans quite agree that Sarah Taylor is the one that is going to be sanctioned here. A yellow card is going to come out. Sarah Taylor's first NSL start. So that will really rile up the home fans as one of their own. The Bridgewater native will go into the book. It's the second caution towards the Tides in the match, joining Olai. Taylor into uncharted territory here, has never played more than 45 minutes for the Tides this season. Now approaching the hour mark. There's Ottawa. As the Rapid look for 2 straight goals. That's some nice passing there. Ball in towards the middle, and Toth fights it off. Kayla Adamick with a drive. That's a good save from the Tides keeper, Annika Toth, who didn't look overly certain, because this is some nice passing right there. Belzile back to Adamick to create the space. And Toth didn't really have any intention on catching the ball, was just trying to direct it away from goal. Results in another corner kick, the second of the match here for the Rapid. It is dealt in back post. This time, Toth does rise up and make sure there's no extra opportunity, I should say. Can't afford that against this dangerous Ottawa team. We've already scored once on a rebound. Mina as well to maneuver away from Nakamura and Cedeno. Countered again. Olai plays right. Now to Kennedy, trying to once again find her way around. Sid Kennedy bobbled up nicely there by Forbes. A fine job backtracking and helping with the back line. Wickers and Olai will reset. Once again, it's been Halifax relatively on the front foot since conceding. The There is a mathematical equation that Halifax could be eliminated from playoff contention today with a loss, which means Ottawa would win. If Montreal does defeat Calgary later on today, that would officially put the Tides out of playoff contention. Seventh game remaining for the Tides on the schedule. Maximum 21 points. Right now 17 back of the playoff line. But a win today, they would mathematically, of course, still be in the race. Although they would need just a mountain heap of help. Road form will certainly have to be top-notch. 3 wins away this year in Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal. Not one in Halifax, and not one in Vancouver. So, of course, 2 of the 3 stops on this 3-match road trip. Love a repeat performance of July the 19th, where they held a clean sheet against the Wild, 3-0 win at McMahon Stadium. Over the hour mark at Wanderers grounds, in the shadows of the beautiful Citadel Hill in downtown Halifax. Without doubt, the city buzzing with the return of the university students. It's Dalhousie and St. Mary's in town. Lively spot throughout the year. Great place to catch a football match as well. Tides have an opportunity again. Miller on Jaleesa Harris. Big center back does well there. There's no chance for Miller. Swing with the Tides, yes. Tides certainly were swimming in that first half with the 1-0 lead. Have work to do now. There's Valeron with a crack. Yes, a goal, and Nakamura may have been in an offside position, hesitated to let the ball go through. Either way, it is a good opportunity here from the Montreal native. Hard to say what Nakamura had in mind there, whether she was trying to redirect that or get out of the way. Will potentially try and play out of the back here again and break down this Tides press. And it's the safe option up and over the top for DB. DB is hit hard, goes to ground. Referee trots by, allows play to continue on, and now will bring the proceedings to a halt here with the league's leading goal scorer in some discomfort. Oline Wickers here. Nothing malicious or anything. Just 3 players looking to be first to the ball. DB has had one really great run today, and it led to the goal. That's just how dangerous she is. 16 goals and an assist on the season, and might not be done. A half an hour or so to go here before stoppage time. Here's Kayla Adamek with this free kick. Ball is sent up, back post, and it does hit the post. Toth was there to protect. And it goes in for a corner kick. Good ball here from Adamek. It does look like it ricochets off of Valeron, off of the post, or off of the side of the goal. Nice tight look from the production team. Post doing the job there. It's good play. It's good play from Valeron to win the ball back, and then Valeron is taken down. That's a late challenge. Halifax look to have had numbers going forward there after strong play. Valorant take you down here. Ball is gone. And Forbes just keeps on going. Perhaps the Tides will feel hard done by that. That's not a yellow card, considering the ball was moving quickly in an attacking sort of mindset. But we remain just with the 2 yellow cards today. Given away here. Gotta be careful as DB felt that the shirt was tugged on. Didn't appreciate that. Just breathing, steaming at the official, with Wickers, who certainly looked to have gotten a good piece of the shirt. Forbes, DB again, back to goal, taken down, and does have help and sent away eventually from the Tides, who have looked a little bit nervous in the last 2 as DB is starting to heat the temperature up. But here's an opportunity in transition. Kennedy's ball! A save from Dagenet, and it's a good one as Sid Kennedy continues to create for the Tides. The last 3 attempts have been on the cross. This time she said, why not? Give it a chance at goal. Left boot, that's her specialty. And it may have been partially deflected as well. But Dagenet did very well to dive across to that near post and make a save. Concedes a corner kick. It really is shocking that Kennedy does not have more in terms of offensive production on the stat cards. Once again, it's been one of the bright spots with Sarah Miller here today. Nakamura, however, another corner kick that falls well short. Another opportunity to come in, and it's dealt with very nicely there by Dagenet. No doubt about that. It's been a good match. Back and forth, it certainly feels like there's more to come. In terms of the possession numbers today for the Tides at home. Nakamura has also been a bright spot today. Ball's into the middle, but not enough attacking presence for the Tides. Here's Taylor. Plays to Julien Valorant. Former Canadian Youth International will move forward again. Valorant. Wickers. Back to Valorant. Tries to go through. Dealt with nicely there by Gibson. Forbes lost her footing. There's the team possession. And we do have a change coming up. It will be the end of the afternoon for Sid Kennedy. Developed a good number of opportunities down the flanks. Turn the duties over to Amanda Allen. Does have a cap playing for Canada going back to 2022. Also has a goal in 5 appearances for the Tides. It's a stern look from Kennedy, who certainly added to her total in terms of chances created, but once again leaves without a goal contribution. Allen had started 4 of the first 5 games she had appeared in with Halifax prior to today. So certainly no slouch, and did score against Montreal. A 1-1 drawback on August the 3rd over the long weekend. Allen would love to bring this crowd to its feet. Get the second half substitute over 23, 22 minutes or so. Do some damage and put a damper on the start of Halifax's big road trip, or Ottawa's big road trip, I should say. Halifax has one as well. Miller does well to get away from Gibson. Ball down as far side. Nakamura. It's a sliding tackle there from Harris. Ball into touch. Taken quickly by Norcus. The middle, Cedeno. Taylor. Taylor has company in the form of Melanie Forbes. Youngsdottir once again off of an Ottawa player. In fact, Desiree Scott, 2 long-time international stars in the midfield. Shortage of caps between those two. Youngsdottir 102 for Iceland. Desiree Scott, the 4th most caps in Canadian women's national team history. Wrapped up earlier on this year with a send-off, goodbye, and thank you match in Winnipeg, her hometown, against Haiti. Another opportunity here, struck towards goal. That certainly had some pace to it. And Valeron, for the 2nd straight time in this half, looks at testing Dagenet. Certainly will know each other well from the Quebecois circles, and that one, a whistler just over top of the bar. Really, that's a valiant effort from Valeron. Opted for power, perhaps, instead of precision, but not a bad effort, not a bad effort at all. Still looking for her first goal contribution with the Tides. She's made 6 consecutive starts at the left back position for Stephen Hart since arriving. The Tide side that know this is for the taking, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Winless in their last 8, going back to July the 12th. It really has been a difficult stretch of football for the Maritime Club. This game is very much for the taking, however. And once again, the Tides look to run. Miller creates some space for herself into the middle. Taylor. And Amanda Allen, the 2nd half substitute. The Mississauga, Ontario native. First opportunity, the cross is there. Scott heads it away. Desiree Scott, that is. Do have a change coming up. Some Ottawa changes here, so Ina Lee comes out and the Nani is set to come in. Nicola Golan as well, other player, will take off Belzile. The goal scorer today for the Ottawa Rapid, and it was in the early stages here of this 2nd half. DB Pridham to Melanie Forbes, perfectly placed shot from Forbes, forcing Toth into the rebound, and Belzile with the perfectly directed header into the back of the goal. Goal number 2 on the season for the 22-year-old. Moment that tied the match. The 47th minute. That's where we stand right now. Nicola Golan in for a 15th appearance of the season. Should be fresh, didn't play in the last match against Montreal. Valeron. Run broken up as she slipped over the ball. Does recover nicely. Taken back by Gibson. Scott. Gibson again in the midfield. Youngsdottir, nice interception, looking to move down that right side. Has come back up into the middle. Shifted to Allen. And to Allen. A wild crack at goal. Did have some good power behind it. Really hungry for a goal, perhaps too hungry. Might have been a better option there for Halifax's striker. Who was on loan from Orlando in the NWSL. Foul given towards Ottawa in the 75th minute. Reminder, 2 more matches to come today across the Northern Super League. Vancouver Rise heading to take on AFC Toronto. That's set to start, well, right on the conclusion of our match here, 2 p.m. Eastern time. 4 p.m. Eastern, Montreal in Calgary. Top of the penalty area, struck towards goal, blocked. DB off of the post! DB Prim denied by the woodwork. And the flag comes up for offside. That close to goal number 17 on the season, and it's a scowl from DB Pridham. Had beaten the keeper, no doubt, but the woodwork to the rescue for the Tides. Left boot, Toth doesn't move. All she can do is just watch, and off the inside of the post it goes. Very close to the 3rd goal of the season for DB Pridham against the Tides. She's done it to everybody this year, though. Here is shaken up in the midfield. Given away by the Rapid. Denyo jumps in frustration. This is unfortunate here for Jonsdottir, who missed a significant time this summer with injury. Needing some help from teammates. With a quarter of an hour to go from Halifax. And certainly some discomfort, but we'll attempt to play on. A couple of pats on the back. Miller's ready. Halifax perhaps given a lifeline by the woodwork as DB Pridham very close to Ottawa's 2nd of the half. Just how clinical she is in the penalty area. Just don't get that kind of break often. This is sent for a corner kick. Couple of substitutions waiting for the Tides, but not yet. Up, sent in. Ottawa swarms to the ball and defends that well. Sent out wide. Forbes just runs out of room. Ball into touch. Referee thought about making the change with the 4th official. However, the ball did cross over the line, and now we will have the change. Triple change here for Stephen Hart. Kay, Karima Lemire, and Millie Clegg will all enter the match. Daniel had some good moments, and it is time for Jonsdottir to make her way to the touchline. Hope that she's okay after what looked like a relatively awkward collision. Denyo had some good moments as well. Had a couple of shots just missing on the target. And there was the Auckland, New Zealand native Millie Clegg, 19-year-old. Who was on loan from Racing Louisville in the NWSL. And Sarah Miller certainly offered a lot in this match. It was great for the Tides. We'll turn things over to the New Zealander, who has 6 caps and 2 goals for country. Scored a couple of goals in the international window back in June, Millie Clegg. Scored against Japan and then again against Venezuela. Would love to do it for club. yet to contribute officially to the goal-scoring proceedings as a member of the Tides. Right, number 22 for the team in the purple and blue here today. Taylor is playing into the 80th minute, and her debut as a starter. She before has only played 45 minutes. That's the most she's played in a single match, so really being tested today. Has a yellow card, so does need to be careful. But so far, so good for the Tides midfielder. Ottawa's threatening though. Golan back into the middle. Taken away, that was Benatti looking for her first touch as the substitute. Quickly removed from the ball. The Tides will have to organize, but here comes the rapid press. The touch off of Golan. Taylor gives the ball away. Taken in the middle by Gibson. Harris sends the ball back to the edge of the penalty area, once again dealt with by Halifax. Been taken back again by Liv Scott. Holland. Sent up again. Adamick pushes down to Desiree Scott. Scott and Golan. Ball sent through to Desiree Scott. He's doing some attacking. To Golan. Ball is into the middle. It's there for the taking. You know who's there. It's DB Pridham. No, it won't sit well with the league's leading goal scorer that she had hit the woodwork and not scored. Here is DB. Back to goal this time. Plays back to Gibson. DB has to run and grab the ball, and Pridham does just that. Shifted wide again. Adamick does well to get around Norcus. Norcus, though, recovers nicely and concedes the corner kick, which is the superior option instead of an attempt at goal. Getting into the late stages of this match. The opening one of 3 today. Super Saturday in the Northern Super League presented by BMO. Forbes seeing some pushing and shoving in the penalty area. Will have a chance to catch a breath as Isabelle Duclos makes sure there's an end to that. Nothing under her watch. Here is Forbes with 5 assists on the season. Pushes the ball in. Toth does not come out for it, and the opportunity comes. And it's sent wide of the goal by Golan. It was high in the penalty area, but Toth opted to stay deep in her goal. And that, of course, could be a major source of anxiety for her teammates and fans. Golan had the strike. It was off target. Valerons had 2 good chances. Quickly throw. Amanda Allen. Nakamura. Here's Allen. Trying to get around Forbes. Forbes does well, takes the ball away from Allen. Back Olai into the middle for Taylor. Norcus. Shifts wide again. There's Millie Clegg. First touch for Clegg, the Kiwi from New Zealand. Doesn't go far though. Ottawa will just send it away. Toth is well out of the penalty area. Sent down the left side again. There will be a goal kick for Dagenais. However, we will head to the fourth official once again for another change. Megumi Nakamura, the goal scorer, opened the scoring today in the first half, will come in for Tiffany Cameron. Cameron was not featured in the last match day squad, dealing with some health issues. Did play 45 minutes against Ottawa, but here's a look at the goal. Deflected up and in from Cedeno, not dealt with properly. And that's a great moment on the day for the Tides and their fans as Nakamura rockets her fourth of the season into the back of the goal. Some fans were ready with the national flag. Megumi Nakamura gave the Tides a 1-0 lead at halftime. Cameron will try and do her well. Her sixth appearance for the Jamaican international, 22 caps for country, 6 goals as well. Originally played for the Canadian national women's team in 2023 before changing associations. Now part of the Reggae Girls in CONCACAF and international play. Ball sent just a little bit too far. Scott will have to retreat. Stays right on Allen though. Look at that, 3 players from the Rapid swarm in. That's one thing that this team does well. They smother the opponent. Oftentimes 2-3 defenders right there to create a mismatch. Here's Taylor. Things have opened up for Clegg. Millie Clegg surveys the situation. Clegg running at the back line, but once again meets Gibson. This ball is eventually just sent in rather harmlessly. And it will be Dagenet taking over. Stephen Hart might be disappointed that that didn't develop into a better chance. There was some time and space and multiple options there. But another chance, no. Taylor's pass intercepted by the longtime Canadian international, Desiree Scott. Golan will push back and Harris. Here's Holland. Harris again. Ball sent to Adamek. Adamek's ball, a good one into the middle, headed on towards goal by DB Pridham. Just not enough pace from the head of the league's leading goal scorer. There was a concern for Toth for a second, but Annika Toth was there to be steady. Make sure there was nothing extra. Cameron's first touch goes back. Norcus. Sent forward again, however, the Tides do not have numbers. Battle is back, and Toth has to really hurry the clearance because DB was there. This will be a free kick. Adamek read that well. Stepped right in front of Kylie Norcus. Taylor also there. And this could be the moment that the Rapid have been waiting for. It is Taylor. Norcus actually part of the collateral damage there. Stella Downing is going to come into this match. 22-year-old from Burnaby, BC. Brings a lot of pace and will take off the Polish international Kayla Adamek, who had a strong match. Saw a lot of the ball, particularly in the second half down that left side. Downing comes in with 2 goals and an assist. 16 appearances this season, scored against the Tides in her 7 minutes of work in the 5-0 drubbing a few weeks ago, just off of Parliament Hill at TD Place. Could this be the time for Stella And the Rapid to snatch 3 points away from the Tides. Forbes will run over this ball. Sent back to Jaleesa Harris. Will she put a boot to it? Yes. Ball is up, taken wide. Forbes again, quickly taken off the ball though. Clegg read that perfectly. And the attacker will just play forward. However, Downing, her first touch, is one forward in the 90th minute. Back towards the middle of the goal, a long looping shot. Is well wide of the target. Benatti will refocus after that. Anxiously awaiting the decision from the fourth official about the stoppage time. And will there be something late to begin this Super Saturday? Of course, BMO as our presenting sponsor. It's a big day, very big day in the Northern Super League. Back to back to back with really no breaks in between, so be prepared if you're watching at home. Sounds like a hockey buzzer there as we cross over the 90 minutes. However, that's not how football works. 4 minutes of stoppage time. Cameron, ball into the penalty area, headed towards goal. It's Marika Gay, one of her first touches since coming into the match. The Chateauguay, Quebec native, which is just south of Quebec's biggest city in Montreal. DB, good ball in, Toth spills it, look out. Close opportunity there. A couple of options, including Ellen Gibson being the closest there. That's a nervous moment for the Tides, who would be just heartbroken if this doesn't go their way. Opening the scoring. Cameron and Jaleesa Harris. Two number 33s do battle there, and it is Harris's Ottawa Rapid taking over. Roland has Benatti, but wants to move up the pitch where Stella Downing is waiting, headed back by Norcus. Taken by Clegg, back into the middle. Here's Marika Gay, good first step, past the center back, and a cross is in. However, deflected away. Good team defense from the Rapid. It's a heavy touch from Norcus, almost costly, but Taylor is there to regroup. Misses on the pass, however, and the Rapid, sensing there might be something late, also give the ball back. Freeman Lemire is taken down as she's spun off balance. Ball looking for Amanda Allen, just too slow on the pace. Scrambly play, it's chaotic even at times, and Julienne Valeron was not able to push that through. Lemire has to backtrack. Valeron is exhausted, just wants to put this ball in the touch. Good decision there off of Forbes. Quickly ahead into the 3rd minute of stoppage time. Here's Amanda Allen. Halifax really pushing for the late winner. It would be remarkable, without a doubt. And Dagenet has to leap up to make sure there's no incident there. Ottawa would love the 3 points for themselves in the race. Tightly contested playoff race. Valeron. Into the middle, Taylor. Taylor's ball, Allen. Wide again, Sarah Taylor. Ball handed away as we've now crossed over into the 4th and potentially final minute of stoppage time. Fans urging the Tides on. Ottawa defending ferociously. And they do well. They're a solid defensive side. They will not be giving up anything up easy. Lemire with DB, full sprint for DB now. Stoppage time, 90 minutes. Orchestrated the first goal, hit the woodwork later. DB Pridham, but no official goal contribution today. As it stands, it's just been the second time this year that DB has been held without a goal in back-to-back matches. Been remarkably consistent. In the midfield, Clegg has to deal with Golan. Clegg wins the first touch. Breaks on for Millie Clegg. And we've crossed over, and that is it for stoppage time. It is a 1-1 draw. The two teams split the points today. The Stephen Hart side go ahead by a goal in the first half. But a counter from Florence Belzile. And Katrina Peterson's Ottawa Rapid do come back to pick up a point on the road to begin this 3-match road swing for the Rapid FC. Fans in full support. They will take the point. The 3-match losing streak is over for the Tides. This is how it happens. Cedeno's cross goes off a deflection, and then it comes to Nakamura, who finishes beautifully top of the net. Goal number 4 on the season, first goal since early July. Wanderers grounds was certainly alive after that goal. Look at the team reaction there. However, DB Pridham turn on the afterburners for number 22. Outside of the boot to Forbes, perfectly placed shot. Toth the save at the rebound. No one stopping Florence Belzile for her second goal of the season. The 47th minute, the away side with a beautiful transition goal to make it 1-1. And that is the final score after 90 minutes from Halifax. Here's a look at the possession. Certainly heavy domination from the Tides. Over 60% in terms of possession numbers today. Did have 3 shots on target as well. The Rapid did have 4. Toth making 3 saves today in the match. And again, we have our Super Saturday coverage. It's presented by BMO with AFC Toronto. Home to the Vancouver Rise. You can hop over to CBC on the network right now. 2 p.m. Eastern time, so that one just getting underway now. And then later on today, Calgary Wild will take on the Montreal Roses, and that's a match that you can watch also on network television with TSN. We split the points today in the Maritimes. A spirited match. In the end, it's Halifax 1, it's Ottawa 1. I'm Matt Cullen. Thanks for watching, and have a great Super Saturday.